Hey, Coach, glad you found us on YouTube. A couple things. First of all, subscribe. Hit that little bell and subscribe every time you come up. My personal goal is to get to 100,000. So share the word, share everything, and subscribe. Second thing is go over and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better. Let me help you win more games in less time, 30 plus years, lots of state championships. You can see them, some of them right here. Let me help you become a better basketball coach. So go over and check it out, and let's head off to the video.
All right, welcome to Coach Unplugged. Coach McDonnell. I am so excited to have you on. I know we've been working to try to make this happen for a while, and I'm very excited about it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it over to you, and I'm going to have you kind of explain your basketball journey. So explain where you are in Massachusetts before we dive too deep. Where in Mass?
Yeah, and even before that, I just want to say how thankful I am for you having me on. Like, I've been a huge fan for so many years. So the fact that you reached out, this is my mecca, right? Like, this is my pinnacle.
Thank you. The checks in the mail. I appreciate it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we do it for the money, definitely. So yeah, I'm from West Roxbury, so right in Boston, Massachusetts, and have lived here, kind of moved back here, and then I coach at Norwood High, right up it's about 15 minutes south of Boston.
Yep. So I'm gonna talk about Boston. We were talking about this before we came out, how much I love Boston. Before the big dig, I was not a big fan. And people go, what are you talking about?
I hear that.
The traffic was horrible. And the big dig made a big difference when they went under the bay and stuff. Because my wife and I, we were out seeing my son, and our flight got canceled out of Manchester, New Hampshire, so we had to drive to Boston. Super easy to get in now, but for people that are listening.
That was my commute, though. Was like during the big dig, so it wasn't as cool then. You know, when you're living.
I bet it wasn't. It's I tell people it's like the way I can describe Boston before it is if you've driven around Atlanta, you know what it's like, because Atlanta's horrible. It's horrible. Don't drive around Atlanta. There's no good way to drive around Atlanta. But anyway, how much I love Boston. So explain, did you play? Where did you play? Did you play in college? Go through your whole career, and we'll deep dive into that first.
Yeah, I played out at a high school. I was lucky you got to play from 7th through 12th grade. So played at Boston Latin School out here. And then went to Stonehill.
Did you take Latin?
I took 6 years of Latin. I know. Et tu, Brute.
Oh my God, that's so good. So they're cutting Latin in our district. Our only one high school. Oh, I know, it's so good. I mean, if you want to do well in the ACT or the SAT, take Latin.
I was just gonna say, but now with that going out the window a little bit, it's maybe not as.
I know it might not.
I know. I could talk about that stuff forever.
Okay, that's crazy, Latin. Okay, go ahead, keep going.
Yeah, so after 6 years of that, got through that, and then got a scholarship to Stonehill College in Easton, Mass, about 30 minutes away from Boston. And then actually just went Division I. I played Division II in the NE10 against like Bentley, Southern New Hampshire, a bunch of schools out here. Like, so really,
did you
really
just jump on the train to get the home and back, or did you have to drive? How did that work?
I drove. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Or I got dropped off. We didn't have a car back then, so
yeah. That's true.
Yeah. Yeah, they were like, see you in a month, 2 months, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was great. You know, had a lot of experience, got to play right away. And then ended up staying on after to be assistant coach there. And their second assistant.
Did you feel like that was a good choice as far as the school goes? That's my first thing. And then, because I always tell kids, don't get caught up in find the right school. Don't worry about the number. Find the right school. Because I went to a school. I had some options to play up a little bit, and I went to D3 school, but I played right away, and I was captain by the time I was a sophomore.
Huge.
It was huge. It was so much a better experience for me. I'm probably not coaching if I didn't do that. That if I'd have tried to maybe push. I mean, again, you're a guy. My dad was a guidance counselor, and he had some courageous conversations with me about my ability. Like, you can go there, but you're not probably going to play. or you can go
Which you
here
wish
and you
more
can play.
people would have. Yeah, you wish
Yeah.
more people would. But I will say I was being recruited by a lot of like Division Ones, and then I tore my ACL freshman year in high school, and then got it back, recovered, and then tore it again my junior year, my other one. So I missed 2 out of my 6 years. So I still only had like really a 4-year high school. But thank God, and this is a huge tip to kids out there, is like never burn your bridges with other schools, because those scholarships came, like the verbal offers, and then they went, just as fast as they came, to a point I like couldn't even believe it. It was like, 2 weeks after I was getting all these offers, I was getting told like, sorry, we can't take a chance on you, and then Stonehill through thick and thin stayed there, and great recruiting by them. And, my brother had played for Stonehill too. So I was always in love with the school anyway.
Right. It's a gorgeous
So
school.
like, so thank God,
Yeah.
like, thank God they stayed in the mix, or else it's
think-
like, what, you don't know.
So, okay. So let's talk about, you tore your ACL?
Yeah. Couple times, yeah.
The same leg or different legs?
Different legs, yeah. And then tore it again my freshman year in college. So that was my 3rd time. So I tore it in high school twice. I was like an athletic kid in the most unathletic body ever. Like the kid that just could play every sport, but like the body just wasn't really jiving.
So first of all, any long-term repercussions from it for you now at your age now?
Yeah, I just had my first replacement last year. So I had my 10th knee surgery a year ago and had a partial knee replacement. And then my other one needs to be done probably in the next few years.
Okay.
But not bad. Like, honestly, I wouldn't, a lot of it was just after college, I had a couple of meniscus tears and things like that.
Right.
Kind of like just effects of the ACL itself, and
Yeah.
then
And I think at least, especially at the high school level, I think at the collegiate level, I think we're seeing less of those, because I think they're doing things.
Yeah.
Again, there's some biology going on. There's a reason girls do it more than boys, because of the angle. I think it's the angle of
the anatomy
bone,
of our hips. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
to give birth. So I mean, I think there's some, but I think the science has caught up to the athletes. That I think you don't see it as much. You used to see it all the time at the collegiate level.
Yeah.
Like, holy crap, it's like 3
You
girls.
actually see it a lot more from the boys, I feel like now. Like, you
Yeah,
see
I
it a
think so, too.
lot more with guys, a lot more with, even NBA players, like stuff that you never really saw.
And I don't think
before.
they're doing the thing that, I don't think they've caught up to the girls. Like they're building other muscles to counter the, to counter it so they don't tear. Like, I have a friend who's a surgeon. He basically says if you're a skier, that's what people used to twist their ankles skiing, because the boots weren't that good. But now the boots are like a cast. So where does it go? It goes right to the knee. So anyway, So, okay. So then, sorry, I didn't mean to go down your medical history. But so then what happened? So you were there as an assistant. Then what happened?
Yeah, stayed for a couple years. But this was like back when the second assistant was making nothing. I was making like $500 a month, living at home, just bartending, waitressing, whatever I was trying to do on the side. But doing like crazy full-time hours, like, as any college coach is doing insane hours. So ended up going back to school to become a nurse. And then, kind of crazy, whatever.
Wow.
I was a history major in college, wanted to go back for nursing. So I took all my sciences. And then one of my, friends' parents just said I'd be a great guidance counselor and coach. And I was like, it's a great idea. So I ended up dropping out of the nursing school and enrolling to get my master's at Providence College in school counseling. Yeah. So then when I was doing that, I kind of got back into the high school level, and I was like an assistant at a school for girls, and then ended up jumping in and being a head coach at a different school.
Okay. And then how long did you stay at the coaching girls? Because you were very successful. You won like 3 or 4 state titles, right? Yeah, 4, I think.
Yeah, I was there for 10 years as head coach of Braintree High School, and we were lucky. We were stacked. I mean, we were 19th in the country, like the #1 public school in the country. So, it's a public school. We just got blessed with all this talent for a few years. So, and then we lost the talent. We kind of regrouped and won a couple more, which was good. So we won 4 in 10 years. And then I jumped over to the boys side, where I've been for the past 3 years.
So I told you before we jumped in. So tell me the difference between the two. Like, is there a
Oh,
difference between
Steve,
coaching boys and girls?
I could write. I'm writing a book. This is what
You
I'm going
should
to do.
write a
It is,
book. You should
right? Even,
absolutely write a book. Are you kidding me?
even your experience from being a JV volleyball girls coach, I'm sure you
Right.
could write like chapter 7 and 8 of it. Yeah, I think, it's funny. You can say whatever you want, like coaching is coaching and blah, blah, all these cliches about it doesn't matter if it's a girl or a boy. And it's such BS. Like there's such a different psychology to coaching, both of them. There's different tactics, strategies that work. So anytime you take over a new program, it's going to be tough, no matter what, right? Like you're just trying to, and this program was not good. Like they were not doing well. So that's hard enough. Then when you're trying to get to know, like, what can guys deal with just in terms of endurance? How much can you push them, compared to maybe girls physically, or how much shouldn't you push them to girls, physically? Like just the personality types, how to go at them and kind of get under their skin enough where they're motivated in a positive way to do some good stuff.
Was there any alpha things going on? Like they're teenage.
So I was really
first of all,
lucky.
they're teenage boys, and I've been around teenage boys for 30 years. They are an interesting breed. There should be an island for teenage boys.
Yeah,
but there tends to be an alpha in most groups. And anyway.
Yeah. And then there definitely was, I think, but for the most part, I knew these kids because I was their guidance counselor too, for a lot of them. So they were the ones that were the most supportive in the application process. Like they're the ones that wanted me to come in and coach. They were already on board. And I just had a good relationship with them. So that was very easy.
That's the trust part that we were talking about before.
That's the trust part. That was
if
huge.
You would have come in from outside, there would have been a different, that would be a different chapter in the book is my guess.
I also think you have to, and you can probably appreciate this too. You have to explain more when you're a new woman on a boys team. So where the stuff, like if I was coaching a girls team, or when I was, you just kind of do the stuff, right? Like you're not worried about whether they respect what you're doing, thinking it makes sense, whatever. So when I was doing, drills, practice, whatever it was, game prep, anything with the boys, I felt like I explained more of the steps so that they knew I knew what I was talking about. Like just to kind of throw it out there a little bit more, you had to earn your keep.
You got to earn your keep. You got to earn your keep. And I remember sitting and talking, to one of my friends. It's like, I know what goes. My daughter just came in here like 5 minutes ago. I don't know. She's a 17-year-old girl. I don't know what's going through her head. But when my son's 17 and when he walks in, I know exactly what's going through his head. So it's just that difference. It's like, it's nothing wrong with it, but it's just like, and that's where I think the good teachers it's no different than teaching. It's that reading of the room and reading of the faces. It's similar to what I was talking to one of my colleagues today about with because we still have masks on, and I said, no, they got to go because I can't read them. Like I can't read. You only get so much from eyes. So if anybody that's listening to this, put a mask over and try to read somebody if they're smiling, or you can't even tell if they're smiling.
Yawning,
if they're bored. So it's like, part of teaching and part of coaching is reading them. I get it. I don't get it. I'm mad. I'm angry. I'm happy. You're reading facial things and you can't do it through that. And to be honest with you, I can probably read the boys' facial expressions a little bit easier, especially the athletes. But no, I think
girls they're more internal. They're starting to like the wheels.
They're thinking, "Ooh, is he mad at me, or is he like guys are again going back to the alpha." The funny thing is, I'll tell you two stories. One is I've seen guys go at it, like literally, like want to like kill each other. 3 minutes later, they're joking and shooting free throws.
Love it. Yeah.
No different. Yeah. JV girls volleyball, like I've told this story before. I walk into practice. I'm 23, 24 years old. Two groups of girls, both one girl crying in each group. 20 minutes later, I get them back together. This girl, these were sophomores and juniors in high school. This girl had said something about this girl in 6th grade, and they're in 11th. And they brought it back up. And I'm like a 23-year-old. I'm like 2 years out of college. I going, what the heck? But I
Like
didn't.
I can't, I'm not getting
I
paid
don't.
enough for
What
this.
am
Right.
I? Yeah. What
Right.
am I
Right.
doing here? And I'm not like. It's like.
What is interesting though is I think as you go higher. So I had, like I said, some really good competitors in the girls side. I mean, I went at them, they went at each other, they were on each other. Like there is no difference between the kids I had at Braintree, thank
No.
God, and like the kids that I'm coaching right now. Almost times where I was like, my girls suck things up a little bit better than my boys were, just in terms of injuries or in terms of like,
Oh yeah,
so
I think you're right. I think that the girls team I was coaching was
oh, it's
kind of
very
a
different at every
recreation.
level. It's
Yeah, it
yes,
was a
yeah. But
recreational, more of a.
you know what I appreciate though about the boys side of things is that the hierarchy for girls is who's cool, who's popular, who's kind of in style, right? And doesn't matter if they're the best on the team, the most competitive, the hardest worker, they're kind of the top of that echelon, right? On the boys side, if you're the best player, if you work the hardest, if your output is the best, you go right to the top. It doesn't
Oh, if
matter
you
if you're
can hoop, they don't care.
right. They don't care.
They
So
don't care.
but that's where I appreciate it so
Yeah.
much was like they fall into line so
Yeah.
much quicker in
Yeah,
terms of where
there's a hoop, there is a guy,
yes,
there is a, like, if you can hoop, they don't care. Like
they don't
you can even be not a very nice person, and during
yeah,
those 2 hours, if you can hoop, they respect. There's a respect. Yeah, there's a hierarchy.
natural,
I always
yes.
say, and as a guidance coach, I've said this, you can see it at element, like there, and I think this has changed over the last 20 years, which I think is a wonderful thing. A fifth grade boy, if you're an athlete on a playground, you got some street cred. 30 years ago, if you were a girl and were an athlete, you didn't have the street cred. Now I think that shifted a lot actually.
Yeah, I think
Where,
yeah.
you know what I'm saying? It's like when I was
Yep.
growing up, if you were a girl athlete, I mean, there was a girl athlete that I grew up with. It's a Hall of Famer. She's an unbelievable athlete, played at UW. She had street cred because but she had street cred with all of us. But um,
Still had to prove herself.
she
Yeah. I
had
mean,
to
that was
prove
me.
herself.
I
She's a
went to
better
the courts
baseball
every
player than
single
me.
day.
Shit, she's
Yeah,
a
I
better
went to the
baseball.
courts every single day.
Yeah.
And still, no matter what, any new guy that showed up, I had to like 1v1 him, just
Right.
to kind of like shut him up and, get him
Yeah.
moving
Yeah.
into my corner. Yeah, I
Yeah.
get it.
There's
Crazy.
something with that. All right. So explain to me, like walking into talk about building a program. Let me generalize first.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
what do you think the steps are? What goes into that?
Yeah. I
We
mean,
both have done it. Yeah, the
right.
team I took over was horrible when I took over 25 years ago.
Was it? Yeah. Yeah. And so you get it, and it takes time. I think you got to get through that first year because you're going to have those seniors, if you're in the high school level, you're going to have those seniors that are going to be really tough to change no matter what. But you can start to drip it, start to brainwash a little bit of your program and get them thinking what you want. I think the off season is so important for any program, and I think we all know this is just in terms of what you do. Like we started a pretty cool thing where we do a summer league now, where we don't have a ton of booster money, things like that. So where teams were paying, charging us $1,000 to go play in a summer league, we decided, you know what, we're going to do an all Norwood summer league. So we have 6 teams. We have, 3 teams of our guys, and the captains get to draft the teams. Then we do like two teams of alumni. So we kind of bring them back in, and 1 team of coaches, and it's awesome. So like right there, you're talking about building your future. I'd have clinics before each of these. So like the younger kids would come up, play with us. And then, you have your summer league right after it. And all of a sudden, like you get alumni that are rallying around your program. They want to be a part of it. So we had a scout team of alumni that came back, and they're coming to all the games and talking everybody up. You have coaches that feel like more invested in the program because they're there and they're seeing it. And I would ref, like I was just, me and my assistant were the ones that ran back and forth and ref. So charged like $10 for a jersey
Right.
and just got after it and played all the time.
I think that's a great thing. The 2 things, I think, first of all, remembering back 25 years ago is hard enough for me, but
Yeah.
I do remember having to draw some lines in the sand that, like, this is not acceptable. Like, we're not doing this. This is not, like,
Yeah.
my only losing season was my first season. We were 7-14. And I've told this story multiple times, but I remember sitting in that locker room going, I can't do this, with one of my assistants. And that 2-hour bus ride home, we basically built our program. We figured out exactly what we needed to do over the next 7 years. And we ended up winning the state title 5 or 6 years after that. But it took a lot of work, and it was like, no, you need to do this, and you need to get in the weight room, and you need to be at the open gyms. And so you're not gonna, I'm gonna cut you. I don't, it doesn't matter. Like, you got to put the time in.
And they need to know that losing is terrible. Like you said the
horrible.
same thing.
Like,
Steve, I remember I just come from a program that won 4 titles, right? So I'm coming like, this is great, but this new team was 6-14 the year we inherited. Right. So we go in, we're 9-11. We just missed the tournament my first year. And I'm literally lying in my bedroom with like a glass of wine, just being like crying. Like, this is the worst thing I've ever been a part of in my life. I can't do this. And it was like, then I was like, that's it. We're winning forever now. I'm sick of this.
Right. Because it's like, I mean, I've told this story. We can't play competitive games for the most part in our family because we're so competitive. It's like, I don't want to lose. What are you talking about? Like, no, winning is, I can learn every lesson. I hate when people say, oh, you can learn. I can learn the same lessons from winning than I can from losing. But no, but I think that second point that you brought up, which is key especially for coaches that are listening, when you're building a program, I agree. I think you got to come in and you got to set some standards and some pillars, and you got to draw some lines in the sand. But I think that off season, we didn't play. We played this season, but we didn't play the previous season at all. Like zero. We played 0 games.
Oh man.
So last year felt like my first year. Literally felt like my first year, because I had coached nobody that was on the squad. 0. They didn't know anything about staying. So it took us till after Christmas to even get to a point where we were competitive. But now this off season is like almost like my first season after that one losing season. It's like, okay, here's what we're gonna do. And I'll be in the gym tomorrow morning at 6:15 a.m. Hope to see ya. Like, this is the standard. You better be there. And like, coach, I got like, that's cool. You should have baseball. You should be lifting. You should be doing, no problem. But they know that I'm there. Like, this is what we got to do if you want to win. And that off season,
you just you have 3 kids come, then you kind of put it out there. You all of a sudden have 7, because we do the 6:15 shoot too, and then all of a sudden you have more, asking about it. So it, like you said, it just takes time.
It takes time, and it's like, and it's like they came in, they shot for a while, and then they go, "Can we play?" I go, "You can play. Go ahead." Where I have pivoted in my coaching, it's like, "Hey, go play 3-on-3, winners play," kind of thing. I think we had 10 there last time. It's like, make it more competitive. Like, this whole like, we want to run. It's like, well, come on, you guys don't even. The funny part is I almost got to teach them playground rules. Like,
it's so true.
It's like, you guys just don't
check it up.
You don't even understand how to hoop, man. Like, there's a place called James Madison that you lost, you sat for 45 minutes, you didn't get to play again. Like, that was fine. It was the summer and it was hot, but it's like, I want to go play. I don't want to sit here on the sideline and wait 45 minutes.
So you find the right 4 kids to play with you, right? Like, you go around and be like, you and you, get over here.
Let's go. We're going to go hoop. And it's like, there's no like, so that's what I got to think about this summer too. When we start doing our open gyms, it's like, all right, how can we make this competitive? Like, you got to like, it's almost become too easy. Like, there's 20 kids or 2 kids. No, it's like, you got to make this like, sitting on the sideline.
And you guys have a lot more time, right? You can work with them in the off season, because we're not in Massachusetts. We're not allowed to.
Nope. So I can't do anything right now other than open gyms until the last day of school. And then I get 5 contact days, and then I can do other stuff outside of that, as long as it's run through as long as I don't have anything to do with it.
Okay.
So I can organize. The booster club runs some stuff, and it's like, I can't, but I get 5 unrestricted days. And I'll actually use 2 of the 5 for those new June days, those June days that you get that the NCAA put in. I'll use those in June. But basically, I'll tell you, my guys, I get them for June and I'm done, because I lose them. They're who knows? They're in Vegas, and they're in Texas, and they're in like, where they've been in April. So, so, which is fine. I said, and then August 1, football, I want them to play a fall sport. Go play boys volleyball is in the fall. Go play those things. Great. So I leave August. So August is like, I need 3 weeks to rejuvenate. Leave me alone, kind of thing. So it's like, I think that tuned, but are there any other things that you think as far as building a program?
Yeah, I think, I mean, and there's so much about the X's and O's piece, and I keep learning all that, just in terms of keeping it simple, and especially with the boys. Like, I will say that's a huge difference between girls and boys. Like, we ran a ton of flex stuff on the girls' side, and we got ridiculous options off of it, and you could have, because every girl will run through like 5-6 options, get to where you want to go, because they'll do exactly what you tell them. The boys transitioning over there, it was like, all right, we're going to do this. We'll get to, these are the best options, are our 4, 5, and 6 options. And they're like never getting to that far, so that was also a learning curve for me. So in terms of building the program, I started to like just keep it really simple. So now we have a foundational set, more read and react stuff, but still simple. And then we do just quick hitters for the kids I need to be in certain places, but in terms of like other things we were doing to actually probably build more of like the culture in the program, was just making it really fun to come to our games. We getting the DJ, having music, having like, we have a super fan club, where they have the t-shirts and can throw them out. We have just a lot of like going on around us. There's a buzz. And
right.
that's, I was
you
actually
need to
going
do
to ask
that
you,
being near a big city, you need to do that even more. Like I think I'm convinced there's too many things. Like they could go to a concert down. I mean, there's 40,000 co-eds downtown. Like there's plenty of things for them to do in town. So you got to make it more appealing for them to come.
And that's what we were getting. Like we're getting huge crowds, so kids they're starting to buy in. So where we were losing maybe some kids to some of our private schools, they're staying, at that public school, which is huge for us. It's like recruiting a stay in your town. And then it's like, it's crazy, but we have a really good private school, like 5 minutes down the street, so we lose or have lost historically kids to there, but we haven't lately. So I think
mom and dad would just as soon send them to yours, probably, if they can.
Well, that's what I'm. It's a good academic school. I'm like, come on, and it's free.
Right. You're not paying. You can save it for college. Yeah. I know.
Exactly.
Let's talk. Go ahead. Keep going.
No, I was just gonna say there's a million things. You could have a whole podcast just on, a few topics about rebuilding a program.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's like, I think it's baby steps too. It's like, it's a 5 to 7, unless you get like a high school All-American in, it's a 5 to 7 year. It takes a while. I'm telling you, for most programs, it's going to take you a while to get to the point where you want to get. Talk to me about your practices. Like, how do you practice plan? How do you set up your practices? So if I was a fly on the wall, what would I see, kind of thing?
Yeah. So, like I said, the first 15 minutes or so is more, we get after, but we have a good time throwing some music. I heard somebody mentioned it. I was on something else and they were saying that they let like the practice player that day pick the next day's playlist. So I just thought,
I like that
to throw in there. Right. So if your AD can get this fixed, right, the stereo fixed, then you can get this, going. But
hoping.
So we do that for first 15 minutes, but they're still like getting after. We have our assistant coaches trying to stuff them, block them, push them around, myself included. Just
how many assistants do you have?
We have 2 assistants. One that's typically there all the time, and then the other guy, if we're lucky.
And what are they in the building, or you're in the building, but are they in the building?
Yep. Yeah, one is in the building and one is our JV coach, so he'll come up after theirs, if he has time.
Okay.
So yeah, we're very lucky that way. And then if we have a kid that's out hurt a little bit, or a manager or something, we've had a couple different managers help us out too. So we throw them in. It's almost like a gauntlet of getting through and finishing at the rim. And then after that, we do some full court stuff with that. That's probably more of our drill, like quote unquote drill time, where it's, those full court ones that you typically know of. And just again, like, but everything's competitive. We instilled this new thing this year where we call it the compete board. So for every drill that we do, and almost like 90% of our drills, you can win it, right? So if you win that drill, you put a point on the compete board. And it's so fascinating to see how many points those kids get right away. Like it's by far your,
and how do you do that? First of all, okay, I love that idea. I'm writing that down because
well, you know what, it's so transparent, right? So these kids know, like, I'm getting 0 compete points, and I might be the best kid here, but obviously like my level's not where it should be, in terms of even just shooting drills.
So you have all their names. Is it what kind of what
it's
does
like
it
an
look
actual
like?
Yeah, it's just a board, like a big cardboard board that I made, and I put all their names on it, and then I put a marker with a Velcro thing to it, so that the guys go over, and they're hilarious about it. Like they give each other a really hard time. And
and it's in the gym.
It's in the gym. Yeah, we bring it in every day. So I keep it with me. I bring it back every day. And for almost every drill we do, they can get a compete point. So and they're all about it.
And is it a weekly thing or is it a practice thing?
It's the whole season. Yeah, it's the whole season. So these, like, we'll see over time. But what's awesome is I can point to it all the time. So I'm like, all right, John, like, let's just take a look right now. Like, so you think you should be out there playing, but let's go back to the board and just look at how much you're affecting even just our practice,
Right.
So I think it gives you something tangible to point to.
It does. And how big are the squares? So I'm thinking administratively, like, are they an inch by an inch?
So the kids, I would say it's probably 2 inches for each kid. And I had 13 kids.
Okay. And they go put the mark on there.
Yeah.
And then you tally it up at the end and then just keep a running tally.
Yeah. So like right now I'm actually in the process of taking the winner I have to get Celtics tickets because that's what I told them I'd get them to take. So unfortunately it happened to be the postseason when I thought about this. So I'm like, I have no idea how I'm grabbing tickets to this, but we're gonna try.
Well, I'm sorry you're gonna lose. Sorry you're gonna lose.
It's just not gonna happen. I think we're winning by 20 right now as we
yeah,
speak.
but it's at Boston, right?
Yeah,
that's fine. We'll let you have that one. We already took one.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, Giannis is the best player in the world, in my opinion. First of all, hardest worker. He is so good. He is so good. He is I mean, we would literally give him Milwaukee. Like, we'll give him Milwaukee.
It was funny. My friend just went out to eat with him. My friend, for some reason, knows him, said he's the most down to earth, humble, nicest guy. I gave him a hug at the end of dinner, like all this stuff. I love everything about him.
Yeah, he's just Wesley has Wesley's lockers right next to him. Okay, so do you have a picture of this thing?
I don't. I can send one along.
Send one to me. No, I'm like trying to think about, okay, so you bring it in, you bring it out, then how do they know that I have 37 and you have 23? Because you must erase it after the day, right?
No. So it's all season long. So the marks, like, our kids will mess up at the beginning and they'll make big marks, like the 1, 2, 3, 4, and then cross it,
right.
And they'll make them too big and realize, like, oh shoot, I'm never going to fit this for the whole season. So then they start to make them really small. And then I'll add them up probably every couple weeks just to see like who's leading and let the kids know and make it a big deal. But it's just nice because anything like running drills, like anything we do, it's like, yeah, you can win this, like get something back. And then
so let's say all 13 of them are doing a sprint and you only have one winner.
Yeah. Or I'll say like first line will be our guard, second line's our forward.
Okay. And then what do you ever do? Because what I was thinking is like, holy crap, it's only 2x2 in the whole year. Like there's only going to be 1 or 2 winners for everything. So if they're doing like a 2-on-2 drill. Okay.
Yeah. And we'll let our games go. Like, if we're doing, obviously we do tons of 3-on-3, 4-on-4 stuff too. And so if we do we'll do rounds, so there'll be 3 rounds of it that will go over a period of time. But if you win like the championship of the rounds, you get a point.
Then
so it'll be different things. Yeah. So you don't have it, but it'd
almost be like, you do 5-on-5 stuff. Holy crap. There's going to be 5 winners.
But we do. Yeah. And then the practice player of the day gets an extra one. So they get like their extra point of the day. And then if you get player of the game, you get an extra one.
Okay, you gotta send me a picture of this. This is intriguing. I'm gonna do this. This is intriguing to me.
So we used to do this thing called the burn board, which was like floor burns, like for our tough kids. So I would give out band-aids for every kid, made this big like burn.
Yeah, we have a hard hat. You get a hard hat with your name on it for a charge kind of thing. Yeah.
Yes, like love all that stuff. And this was just something I could call out because I have this really, really tough kid on my team, like awesome kid, like hardest worker. but it doesn't always show on paper. And I wanted my other guy who's a better player to understand that this kid's compete level was that much higher, all the time.
Right.
So that was kind of fun to do.
You don't always start the best 5 hoopers.
Right. Yeah. It's like the perfect puzzle, right?
I mean,
like
my last state tournament appearance in 17, Jake was one of the top 5 guys, but he just got drafted in the 4th round by the Cowboys. He was a good basketball player. He was not a great basketball player. He was a good player, but he he got drafted. He's 4th round pick of the Cowboys, tight end. Like he was
pretty decent.
Yeah, pretty good athlete, and he would hurt you kind of thing. And he would set a screen that you would still talk about today, probably. But it doesn't always show up in the stats thing. But it's those. I love that idea. If you could talk about one topic, what topic would you talk about?
Oh, I think probably it's like so cliche, but the culture piece. I love that stuff. Culture, program, building it around any of that.
No, I'm the older I get, it's the X's and O's are important. If I see one more out of bounds play on Twitter, and it's like,
right.
It's like,
well,
great.
That's what I just did this presentation on last night, actually, was because especially if you're a newer coach starting out or starting a new program, look at all the stuff available, right? Like, where do you start on X's and O's wise? Like,
it's too much.
You love every play you see, right? You're like, oh my God,
it's too much.
Perfect, hammer, whatever it is. And so, yeah, you got to cut it out, get a basic thing you can run out of transition that gets them moving, gets them going, and playing and actually like making reads. And then add into that very simple quick hitters. And that has been kind of the go-to for the last 2 years.
Yep. And be original on defense. That's where you can really tweak people, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But I was telling another coach that during COVID, when they were doing all those free clinics, I literally had to turn my computer off because it was too much stuff. It was like you'd watch one and there are so many people that know so much more than me, but it's like, I can't take, I'm dealing with my guys. Like I can't take all of that. And it's just, it's one of the reasons I started T-Tubes, but it's like, it's like, yes, if I see one more great out of bounds play from you and I aren't coaching 5 guys that could be playing for Arkansas. Like these plays are like great. They're wonderful.
You actually might be coaching.
I have at times in my career had that. I've had some pretty good teams. Yes. I think if I took.
Well, then you probably know this then. Like, so I was on another call where I was fighting to keep the mid-range shot alive because the people on the call are talking analytics and basing it on NBA players. And I'm like, we're all high school coaches. And I'm like, guys, we're all high school
I'm going
to
tell people that if you've gotten through the podcast this far, I'm going to give you a golden nugget. I'm going to tell you right now from the stats teacher, the 3-point line and the attack the rim, everyone's doing it. The mid-range is open. It's open. Wide open. Like if you can hit that shot, you can get an open shot whenever you want.
Run us off the line. Keep running us off the line. That's great. Yeah.
I'm telling you, if you want to get something that no one else is doing in your area, teach your kids to shoot a 12 to 15 footer. Now, I understand the analytics. Trust me, I'm a AP stats teacher. I've taught stats for 25. I understand the analytics. You won't be open from 3 as much as you are open. Those NBA guys are not open from 15 feet.
Right.
Like they're not ever open for the most part. No. So your guys will be wide open. Like it's got to be like I told my guys, that 12 footer's got to be like a layup.
Yeah, we say
it's got to be like a layup. You got to shoot it, hit it 60% of the time. We'll take a layup every time. What are you talking about? I'll take a layup. So that's got to be
where like right around the free throw line, even like we do tons of floaters, tons of whatever is like our shot. We get so many points from there every game.
Yeah.
So
I know it's all run off. It's all run off. It's like, oh my God.
I just think it's like they're comparing it to NBA though. I'm like, guys, we're talking, you know, like that's, come on.
And you're comparing it
Apples
to
and
the
oranges.
you're comparing it to high division one too. It's like,
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, as a guy that if you took my top 15 players over the last 25 years, I could compete. I could get those top 15 guys to the Sweet 16. I'm just telling you, that's the talent I've had. I can tell you that right now, no doubt about it. And if you want to call me, we can discuss who my starting five would be, and they would all be professional basketball players, to be honest with you. So I know that, but I'm telling you right now, you are better off watching NCAA women's basketball than you are watching NCAA men's basketball.
Yeah.
Because that
Yeah.
game correlates closer to what I'm doing on a regular basis
Totally. The
than those.
sets. Yeah,
Basically, the college game is slowly shifting to the NBA game. A lot of ball screens, a lot of ISOs. The women's game is a pure game. It's they're not there's not 63 dunks in the. I mean, it's more like.
yeah, you're still swing attack. Yeah, you still get.
You know what I'm saying? And again,
getting some east to west action.
nothing
right?
against them. I'm just saying that game correlates closer to my guys. They're better than my guys. Don't get me wrong, but for the most
No,
part,
but totally. I know. I hear you. I hear
yeah,
you.
it's just the way the game is played. It's more like there's more, Gino's doing more in that game, and they're all moving pieces more than Coach K ain't moving a lot of pieces during that game. Trust me.
Right. Yeah, and less each year,
Each year, because they're one and dones, and then they're off to the NBA and stuff. Do you have a coaching failure? Do you have something in your career that we could dive into that a coach would learn from?
Yeah, when I was at Braintree, I was there for 8 years, and I had just a couple tough parents one year, and I ended up they had sent me an email that was pretty terrible, just about character, and kind of went at that stuff. And that was I got my defenses up, and I shot back through email and actually resigned, on the spot. I was like, I'm done with this, BS, this is out. And you can't get emotionally attached, I mean, you can, because you do, but you can't take everything personal. And at that point, I still was, so yeah, I could tell you a lot about.
No, I mean, the thing is,
differently.
and this is what I've told some young coaches, you can't be rational with an irrational person.
Right.
You can't
Yeah.
be. Like,
Yeah.
we live in a world.
It's the 80-20 rule now. So I have an 80-20 rule. It's actually probably more like 70-30 now. We're like, especially as being a guidance counselor, like 20% of the parents I'm going to meet just kind of go into the crazy pile, right? Like they're like, I just can't even deal. 80% are awesome. You figure things out in the middle, you work your partnership.
Yep.
Same thing with with parents of basketball players. Like 20% you just kind of chuck and be like, okay, whatever they're going to say, like you said, is irrational. And the other 80 are the ones I'm going to deal with and kind of focus on.
Hey, my kid's going to Harvard. What are you talking about? My kid's going to Harvard.
Right.
It's like, I'll tell you a Stanford story, because we have friends who live in San Jose, just outside Stanford, and we went on a tour. I'm the dad that asked the question he goes, do you have any questions? I go, what was your application on? And he goes, my application, I'm a storm chaser. I go, what? He goes, I chase tornadoes. That's what my thing was on. And I go, oh my God, that's the kind of person that gets into Stanford. Yeah. Then I go listen to the Stanford admissions person. They go, well, let me explain how Stanford works. Take a football stadium, and everyone, we're gonna fill that entire football field, the field, with people standing right next to each other. They're all going to be 4.0s, and they're all going to be 36s, and we're not going to let them all in. And it's like,
yeah. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess Stanford, like it's like Harvard, it's like, yeah.
Exactly.
So I agree. You can't, yes. I mean, you can't take that stuff. It does, but it does. Even in my career, it's like, I know what I'm doing. Like, come on.
Yeah,
they
but
come after
like
me.
still, when they come at you, like that's where I was like, oh, like don't tell me I haven't made great relationships with your kids or want the best for, like that stuff I can't take. And so it kind of blew up.
But that's why they do it. That's why they do it.
Yeah.
They're poking at you.
Oh, totally.
Oh,
yeah, and I went right back. I gave them exactly
so
what they wanted.
You can't poke back, is the issue. Is like, I can't, like, I won't. Yeah. And I more than once I've said, stop, you're being a parent. Like, trust me, I coached my own son. It was the hardest thing I've ever done, and probably the most enjoyable thing I've ever done. But it was hard, because it's like this little side's being dad, this little side's being coach. It was horrible. It was hard.
Yeah.
But so I understand the parent thing. Like, I mean, they're gonna
Yeah.
do whatever they need to
Rose
do.
colored glasses, right?
Yeah, they're gonna do what they need to do. All right, let's go through the rapid fire. I don't want to keep you too. Oh God, it's like 9:30 your time.
Okay. No
You're
worries.
she's Eastern, I'm Central, so I'm just getting started at 8:30. All right, I'm gonna do my rapid fire. So I always do this at the end. Favorite brand of basketball, ball you play with.
Baden.
Okay. One word to describe your ideal player.
Competitive.
Okay. If you go to one sporting event other than the Bucks beating the Celtics in the Eastern semifinals, it's not the finals, I don't think. Yeah, it's 2 versus 3, right? Yeah. One sporting event.
Super Bowl.
Really?
With the Pats. Yeah, with the Pats back in it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Super Bowl.
Never been.
Have you been to a Final Four?
I only on the women's side. I haven't been on the men's side
Okay.
yet. So that's another one that's up there.
Yeah, Super Bowl. I don't know. I mean, yeah, that'd be interesting. Favorite pregame or postgame meal?
Chicken parm.
Ooh.
100%.
Wow. I had steak. The last guy I did it was steak. It's like, ooh, that'd be a little too much for me.
I'm like a chicken parm connoisseur. I can tell you the best ever.
Oh, you are? What does your game day look like as a guidance counselor?
Game day.
Like the whole day. Like you wake up in the morning. What does your day look like?
Save some lives, with some kids, have some tough conversations, probably shed a few tears with some kids that are going through some stuff. And then right after school, it's just getting after it. Like I get to the gym so early because the freshman's playing and the JV playing and then the
they all play in
playing.
one gym. They all play in one gym. Okay.
So I'm there from 3 o'clock till whatever, 8:30, 9 o'clock at night.
What's your longest bus ride? What's your longest ride?
So we're not bad. We're in like the city, so it's not as bad. We're probably about an hour and change is our longest.
Oh, that's not bad. That's not bad. Do you have any superstitions?
Tons. Yeah, I think I'm borderline a little OCD about numbers and everything. You too? Yeah.
I'm 100%.
It's like almost runs your life. It's a little bit annoying.
It's rituals though. It's rituals. I think it's a good thing.
Yeah.
What do you do to relax?
Drink wine. No, I hang with a ton of friends. I'm lucky to have good friends, good family, great nieces. I have 2 little nieces, so we chill out a lot.
Okay.
But I'm out a lot. I'm very social.
Very social. All right. Describe your perfect player in 5 words or less.
Ooh, would run through a wall.
That works. That's 5. All right. Best basketball player you have seen in person.
Ooh, that's a great question. Well, girls side, I'd say Nicole Boudreau played at BC. Or this other girl played at Tennessee, and I'm blanking on her name. And the boys side, I'd say, I don't know if you remember Scooney Penn from
I do.
Played at BC. Yeah, great player, but he was probably the best I saw in person, played against my brother. Yeah.
Okay.
I'd go with that.
Hold on, I lost my place here. Best basketball player of all time.
Ooh, Larry Bird. No question.
Okay.
Hands down.
No, I like Larry Bird. I like Larry Bird. I was like, I was a Laker guy because you can only be Lakers Celtics when I was growing up. I get it. No, I mean, I just haven't had a Larry Bird. I think Larry Bird was way under estimated too.
He's my guy.
Yeah.
That's like to
shot
go
clock.
to that
Go ahead. What?
No, I was gonna say he's like a good player in a non-athletic body. So I kind of relate. I relate.
He got everything out of it. Shot clock, yes or no?
Oh God, yes. Yeah.
Okay. If you could change one thing about the game, what would you change?
I would allow it to be more physical.
Okay.
We still get called on ticky-tack stuff.
Yeah. Charge circle, yes or no?
Charge what?
Charge circle, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Best game you've seen in person?
Ooh, that's a great one. Shoot, like NBA, that kind of thing. Anything. Oh
Anything.
man, this is a tough one. I
Can be
want to
one
say
you
it was
coach. Can
like
be one you coach. Mine is the one I coached.
So mine's the one I coached too. Yeah, we were in the state finals. We won by 1 with just about no time left.
Yeah, we won it. We won in triple overtime in the state finals. Only triple overtime in 100+ years.
Wow.
Yeah, state finals. Guy called a first or second overtime. Kid called a timeout. They didn't have one.
No. Oh, the
My
Weber
point guard hits both free throws, goes to the second overtime. Blah blah blah. Oh, it's crazy. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I know. I still feel that was like 11 years ago. I still feel bad for that kid. Not that bad, but I still feel bad for that kid. It was like, whoa, you never live that down. Quarters or halves?
I like quarters. What do you guys have?
We have
Are you
halves. We have
quarter?
halves. I miss the teaching between quarters.
Yeah.
But we play two
Especially a young
18-minute
team.
halves. Two 18-minute halves.
Oh, wow. Okay. I like that though.
Yeah. So what happens is I gotta rest my stars. I gotta rest everybody at least a minute or two. So it's like a college game. No one plays 40 minutes in a college game. So you gotta pull them and rest them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many timeouts do you guys get in addition?
Same amount of timeouts.
Okay. So we get 5 plus the quarters.
Yeah. So you get more.
Yeah.
That's best basketball coach of all time.
I'm a Tom Izzo fan.
Ooh, I like that. That's a good call.
Yeah.
I like Tom too.
Yeah.
Best team of all time.
86 Celtics.
Good team. I do remember that team.
Team.
I graduated high school in 85. I remember that team. That was a good team. I'll give you that one, even though I was, and I was more Lakers because our school colors were the same as
Oh, you had the purple and yellow.
Yeah, so that was part of the reason.
I get it.
Jump ball, yes or no?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna fight you on that one. It's the dumbest thing.
To start, what do you mean by jump ball? Like tie up?
No, the tie up I have no problem. The first jump ball should get rid of. The visiting team should get the ball to start the game.
Oh.
And here's my reason is the officials are horrible at throwing the ball and they only do it once a game.
Yeah, you're right.
And one of the 3 does it. We have 3 officials. Well, one of the 3 throws it up once a game. They can't do it. Yeah. And it's like, so it would make the game more of a chess match if you did visiting team gets the ball.
They get it first.
Everywhere. Let's go. And then do alternate.
Yeah, I could see that. I've never ever thought about that before. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So the last question I always ask is, do you have one bit of advice for your younger self?
I think it goes back to what I was talking about before. Like, don't take things so personally, and really just like kind of stay true to yourself, keep going. You're usually doing the right thing. And like, so I'm so corny. I'm a guidance counselor, right? So I have like so much corniness to me anyway, but I have like a big thing on my bureau, the Man in the Arena poem that just says like, everybody else doesn't matter unless they're in there with you, so you're going to take the noise no matter what. But I would much rather throw my name in the hat and be a part of it than worry about the critics. I think
that's what I tell the guys. You'd rather be an active participant than the 3rd row in the student section.
Right. Yeah.
I know it hurts.
I say it all the time too, for like the final free throws. Like, I'm like, if you ever end up where you have the opportunity to hit free throws, right? Who cares? Like if you have, 1, 2, whatever, I'm like, kids would give anything to be that guy, regardless of whether you win or lose. Like,
right.
So screw everybody else and, do you enjoy it?
Right. It's part of that journey. All right. Thank you, Coach. I really appreciate you coming on. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hey, Coach, so happy you enjoyed the video. Make sure you subscribe and like. Go over and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better.